It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman and this is the Forum on Eagle Television. It's good to have you watching along as our forum is brought to you by Hayes Med. Our guest, he's been here before. He's our airport manager. His name is Ovid Seifers, and Ovid, is good to have you on our program because there are some exciting things we have to talk about today.
Great to be here.
You know what, this is the winter time at the airport, and with winter comes snow, ice, all those things that you get to take care of. Before we go to the exciting news, what's it like out at the airport in the winter when it snows, it ices? I'm guessing you're out a bunch in the weather.
Well, we watch the weather very closely in the winter, as most public works type divisions do. We watch it closer because of the aircraft, and we have an early morning departure and a late evening arrival. So to make sure they get here, we have to make sure that we're already ahead of the game 2 to 3 hours before, so they get in and out. Otherwise, they divert and then we miss them.
What's the requirement for an airplane coming in? Say you're flying into Hayes and you're coming back, it snows. How do you tell? You got to have a safe runway to land on. You don't want to go skidding off. We've seen that happen recently. But how do you know whether it's safe or not? What do you do?
Well, it's something you learn over the years, but we also have a friction measuring device that tells you how quick you can stop on a runway, and it gives you a reading. And we have these 4 or 5 categories that go from 1 to 5. 5 is basically dry pavement or damp, and if you're down to 1, you probably need to reconsider whether that runway is open.
And most of the time you have a lot of snow, and you can do a good job of getting it off so it doesn't get packed down. But recently we've had some ice, and you have some equipment now that really helps with that. That's not necessarily a snow blade, but it's a snow brush per se.
Yes, it's a 14-foot rotary snow broom. It's a tow-behind unit. And
would that work in my driveway?
If you had got a great big one.
Big driveway,
yeah.
Okay, so it's 14 feet wide, and it just does what? Just goes down, brushes?
It's towed by a tractor, and it brushes off snow and ice. Snow real well and ice to a point, and thus it's the freezing drizzle, freezing rain, very thin ice, then it doesn't do a very good job at all. And that's the type of ice that we have to put de-icing compound on it to use with the broom to rough it up and then speed up the melting, and then it will come off.
So you put a solution down, not like the salt pellets or anything?
No salt ever goes on the airfield, never.
So what do you use instead?
We use urea in Hayes. A lot of places, the bigger airports use a liquid potassium acetate. It's about $3.50 a gallon, however.
Oh, yeah.
But it does operate and work very quickly. Very quickly.
Well, you have some exciting news because coming into the program, I knew you were close at reaching, I'll call it the magic 10,000 passenger mark, because airports have I think you go back to 2011, since Hayes was even close to that number. Coming into the program, I heard that we weren't quite there, but coming today, talking before the show, sounds like you have some good news to report.
We have good news in the fact that we checked around through the various charter operators that fly in and out of Hayes, carrying Fort Hayes athletic teams, hunters to the area, pheasant and deer,
go in and out.
Doctors in and out from Johnson County and Kansas City, Missouri. And that got us over the top.
So do you go pop the cork on some champagne out there? What do you do when you, because that means, I mean, it is a fun number, 10,000, big number, it's all fun, but it means money back to the airport to help reinforce and rebuild and do things good at our airport.
The difference between 10,000 passengers and higher than 9,000 is $850,000 per year from the FAA for airport improvement projects. $850,000 difference.
That makes a difference when you're trying to build an airport that really allows those of us that are in this part of the world to have a way in and out of town to do business and or to travel or go vacation and do those things. So that's a big number. That's exciting. And when you look at that, so it includes the airline, but it also included other in and outs, correct?
Yes,
that are
charter operators,
charter
Part 139 operators, basically are aircraft that are on demand for hire. In other words, you can walk up to them and they'll take you somewhere, but you can only count them if they actually leave Hayes, not their arrivals, strictly departures. So it's narrowed down, but we have enough of that type of business throughout the year that got us over that.
Well, congratulations. Going back to 2011, that makes a big, big difference. Some of it I know has to be the consistency, the reliability of the current air carrier that we have. United does a terrific job, or they do a much better job than maybe some previous air carriers, so people depend on that. More people are flying in and out to the regular airline.
That's correct.
And it's going to change even a little bit to allow maybe some more flexibility. Right now there's 2 flights going out and coming back into Hayes. The early morning one, then there's an afternoon coming back, and then an evening one as well. But you're going to actually go east a little bit. What's that mean?
Well, the east, it's always been a comment. I don't want to go west to go east, but you don't have anything that's going east. Well, effective,
I've made that comment.
effective April 9th, that going east will be possible by Hayes, Salina to Chicago O'Hare.
So you take
Daily.
off in Hayes, a little jump to Salina. They'll add some more passengers there. Maybe, I doubt anyone's going to fly Hayes to Salina, but they'll have that little
You
bit.
can, however.
You can if you want.
For $75 one way.
One way, fly over to Salina, and then fly back, have
Yes.
dinner, whatever. Okay, then you can go into Chicago, and O'Hare is probably, if you look at big airports in the country, Denver's one, O'Hare's one, Atlanta's another one. Dallas would be one of the bigger ones.
O'Hare's in one of the top 5.
It's one of the biggest, and so to be able to jump into Chicago, you can get about anywhere from there. What does that do to, say, trips to New York? If you look New York, Washington, D.C., those sort of things, East Coast?
You can make those late evening connections to the East Coast major hubs, medium hubs, and even smaller hub airports, and catch that last bank internationally out of Chicago to take you to many places in Europe and the Mideast nonstop.
That adds a whole new dimension. So I know people that have to travel for business back to the East Coast to go for a meeting. It's been difficult to go to Denver, wait there,
Yes.
go the other way. It almost is an extra day to do that, so you end up going somewhere else. I think that makes for a real opportunity for somebody that wants to go travel, vacation-wise as well. If you want to go do something,
Great connections.
you can go
for
right
vacation.
in Chicago and jump to any of the other places in the world, and really allows Hayes to be that much more of a resource for people in western Kansas to be able to come here and fly in and out.
Oh yes, it's a marvelous connection to have, and return is very good. Leaving Chicago at 10:35 a.m. will put you back in Hayes at 2 p.m. that afternoon.
So explain a little bit how the flights are going to work as of April 9th.
April 9th, the O'Hare service will be effective, and that will come from Denver to Hayes to Salina to O'Hare. That's a 30-minute stop in Salina, then nonstop to Chicago O'Hare, arriving at 8:08 p.m. daily except Saturday.
Okay. And what about will the early morning flight still be in existence?
Early morning flight still will leave at 6:50 a.m. as it does now.
And you'll go into Denver,
Going to Denver.
and then the late night one will come back late at night.
That's correct. However, that late night flight will continue on to Salina. The aircraft will remain in Salina overnight, and then that's the aircraft that comes back to Hayes for the 6:50 a.m. departure to Denver.
That's interesting. Is that tying Salina and Hayes together? I know there's been discussion over a period of years of why not just go from Denver, hop across the state, go to Kansas City, turn around, come back Kansas City, and do that sort of thing. This is that a little bit, except from Salina you're going to Chicago. Where does Kansas City fit into that discussion?
Kansas City's too close for that type of operation. A flight go from Hayes, Salina, Kansas City. You fly to save time. It's the only reason most people fly. And when you go to Kansas City, Southwest is the biggest carrier there. So if you board a United flight anywhere, then you have to pick up your baggage at that airport, Kansas City, recheck in at Southwest, go through security again, and go through that whole process.
Not very efficient.
Kansas City doesn't have those connections to the Far East and Europe. They simply don't have it.
So nothing on the horizon yet for getting to Kansas City, unless you want to go through Denver and then to Kansas City.
Nothing on the horizon at all for Kansas City.
Okay.
From Hayes.
That's exciting. If you're out there looking to travel, April 9th is kind of the cutover date.
Yes, it
and
is.
When you're the typical flights that we have right now, they'll cut over on April 9th. So if you're looking ahead to something this summer, traveling to the East Coast, traveling somewhere else, make sure you check online. United has a great site for jumping online to check flights, because you go through United to go out of Hayes. That's the best opportunity to do that. So check on that, see what you can do, see where you can go by flying out of Hayes. Is that a good commercial?
It's a great commercial, great connection.
Well, good. Well, one of the things I know that happens, people talk about the airport, and they drive by and go, what is this all about? Because there's a lot of money being spent on the airport. The new fence going in is one of those. Why is that so important? That's not a cheap project. That's a couple $1 million.
That fence project is probably right around $1.7 million completed. That fence will be 10 feet high all around the airport totally, and is primarily for wildlife mitigation, to keep wildlife out, primarily deer. No fence will keep out birds. And 90% of that is paid by the FAA. And the fact that Hayes is a commercial air carrier airport without any meaningful fence is quite a rarity anywhere.
Well, you see that, and if you know a pilot, or you are a pilot coming in and you find an animal out on the runway, it's not like you can just swerve to the left or right.
No, you can't.
You kind of are where you are, and so it's very dangerous, even for small aircraft, but you get the bigger aircraft where they're carrying a bunch of passengers, and no one wants to be in that environment to make that happen. So what's the timeline for the fence? I know in the winter, it's hard digging holes and putting up fence, but I know they've been out working on it up until really kind of some of these last warmer days.
Well, the fence actually had a notice to proceed in mid-October, and then it was halted there for a survey issue. The notice to proceed, again, will be effective March 1 at the latest, and that contractor will move very quickly, as he did when he first started. And he does very good quality work, and that fence will go in very fast and give a much, much safer environment for aircraft.
You also have replaced some asphalt with concrete. What's the theory behind some of the work you've been doing out there for that?
The FAA over the years has shifted a lot of their projects from asphalt to concrete for durability and longer lasting. And the debate's always out whether concrete or asphalt, which one in the end, long term, lasts longer. Concrete has far less maintenance requirements on the short haul than asphalt, because asphalt will begin cracking as early as the second year after installation. It does melt snow quicker in the winter than concrete, but is much more durable over the long term.
So really, out at the airport, the runways, everything's concrete out there. There's everything is concrete. I'm trying to think of where there would maybe be a patch of asphalt up there, but those are the projects you're working on. What else is on your drawing board for 2018?
18's our leanest year. We kind of hit cycles with the airport improvement program, and part of that critical factor is getting that 10,000 employment so we can continue to get the $1 million from the FAA rather than 150,000. And the FAA does match 10% of projects that they sanction and approve, which primarily is asphalt and concrete. And in Hayes' case, it's primarily only concrete. And down the road, there will be taxiway widening someday, new lights on the crosswalk and runway. They're direct buried in the ground right now. So, and some equipment purchases, for bigger equipment purchases, such as the snow broom, that was purchased with that FAA airport improvement money.
The terminal is a nice terminal. It's pretty easy getting in
Very
and out
nice.
of. If you ever travel to other terminals, getting through the Hayes terminal, security's great, but it's just a simpler process to get through. So if you fight the crowds in Denver, Kansas City, to be able to drive up in the parking lot. In fact, you may have to expand your parking lot with this, because there's already cars parking out in kind of the overflow area.
Well, we made utilization of a laydown lot for the taxiway project. that laydown lot remained and will be used for additional long-term parking. So kind of got two birds for one there.
And how much does it cost to park at the Hayes parking lot?
Absolutely free,
So
short-term and long-term.
short-term and long-term, you park for free versus other airports that charge at $20, $30 a day
Yes.
to make that happen. So I want to take a break, Ovid, and come back, and we're going to do just kind of a wrap-up on kind of what the flights are and why it's important to fly out of Hayes. Our guest is Ovid Seifers. He's with the Hayes Airport. He's our manager out there. Back with more after this.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum. Our guest, Ovid Seifers, who's the manager at the Hayes Airport. Some exciting news happening there. If you see something out there going on, let me know. We'd like to talk about it here on this program. You can let me know at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also go on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can check in under ECTV Forum. Again, our guest is a manager at the Hayes Airport, Ovid Seifers. And Ovid, you mentioned the $10,000 mark, which is exciting because I knew you were close, but you made it. Now we have new flights coming. We'll have more dollars to be able to help improve the airport. And it sounds like the ball is rolling in the right direction.
It is rolling in the right direction. The fact that Hayes has flights to two of the top 6 airports in the U.S., one for the eastbound now with O'Hare, and Denver for the west, and North Central and Southwest, speaks a lot for Hayes. The thing is, please use Hayes to fly to those places.
The more it gets used, the better off. We have a great air carrier in SkyWest. They
Yes.
seem to be quality. They're there, they show up. Very seldom are they leaving. You know, sometimes weather just won't let you get somewhere, and we know that. But in some previous experience, people got stranded a lot, and we haven't had that happen very often here. Somebody should go, and I guess maybe the thing to ask, and you hear promotion on this Fly Hayes, just make sure you go check. Go online, you can check, you can call your travel agent if you want to do that, but check and see, and by the time you figure driving, parking is a big thing, and the ease of getting on a plane here, it sure makes some real advantages for flying here.
Well, no one's going to drive to Chicago very quickly or very easily. And they have fares, basic economy on this flight to O'Hare as low as $248 round trip.
So back and forth out of Chicago for $248.
Yes, that's the lowest basic economy. You're never going to drive anywhere close to it for that price.
You know, one of the things that, you know, compared to some other flights in and out or other airlines that were here, they really have nice people on board too that help. You know, they'll fix you up with refreshments along the line and do that as well. It's really nice to be able to do that. Restrooms. There was a time we didn't have restrooms on those flights.
Correct.
And now they're there, just those little things. So make it a point, if you're going somewhere, check out Fly Hayes, and best way to do it, find the flights on united.com or on one of the United apps. You can do that. I assume they can come out and see you. You're at the airport, your manager's office is there, and they can come talk to you about it too, right?
Yes, I can.
And you'll get them set up.
We do our best all the time to give them the information they need.
Ovid, for somebody who's out there a bunch, you do a great job of keeping everything in order and making it safe for pilots. You make it safe for those that are flying the airline, and appreciate all you do to make that happen.
Well, thank you.
Ovid Seifers, our guest. He's a manager at the Hayes Regional Airport. Fly Hayes, if you would. And thanks for watching this program. It's brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Boost, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Boost-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Boost powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Boost. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.